Going to leave it for a few seconds before we actually... and hello and welcome back to the second part of my run through the Endwalker MSQ. As I'm going to say probably at the beginning of every stream, just for YouTube, this is going to contain a lot of spoilers to Endwalker, so I'm going to swap over and get on, because we did manage to complete all of the initial Favnir quest line on Tuesday. So we only have to report back to Kryl. And yeah, it has spawned the camera in right in the back, so yeah. Because I decided to actually leave it here in Yehimad because of the amount of stuff I'd have to deal with, or the amount of load I'll have to deal with actually if I actually went to if I actually started in Old Charlian. Right. Oh, you have to report into Thancred. So, further down. Okay. And the hard drive is chugging. So I'm actually going to wait for everyone to actually start loading in. Unfortunately, this is how things be with a new expansion. The only reason it's probably not going to be as hard as it is because they actually break up the areas into separate instances. Excuse me. Right. I'm gonna see if we can. Have a look at that sale history. Oh! Gil. Thank you! And let's view that venture report. Saurian gloves of casting. Alright, let's see, 300. Yep, sales history. Yeah, I think we actually managed to sell off everything. Withdraw Gil. Yep. Oh yeah, that's right. That's one thing I actually forgot to pick up. Not that. This. Sights of the End. Ethernet. Right, Scholar's Harbour. There it is down here. There's Beth Ironheart. Sightseeing level, your person. Trying to for it a bit, would you? Yeah, because there is, I think, one. There is actually one vista in Old Charlian. Well, sightseeing log expanded. Oh. Yeah, I got to remember that the because on my main for Bard, these two, the Peloton is actually on 3 and not on 1. Alright. Let's head to the Valdesianex. Hopefully what we can do is get actually get the Charlian set part of the quest of the initial quest line actually done today. That's all I was getting used to balmy family. We're back here in chilly Charlian. Take care not to catch your death, eh? I need you for the battles to come. No, your investigation here remains, but when that's over, we can take stock of all the developments and discoveries. Hitting the books. Lead the main hall. Alright. Oh yeah, that's right. We don't have any I think we're actually headed to this building over here. No, I could have actually gotten there by Etherneting to the Studium. I've referred in comparison and dismayed the subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Shardian is free to enter and peruse the shells. Well, most of its shells, only Archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. I've dispatched Stoller and Raha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Eze and Alphano will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Shardian's history or foreign policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of these subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we were looking for. Let us be about it, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they've found some promising tomes. Happy reading! Lovely, we gotta go. Read the relevant subjects. And this is what I meant. Boop! There we go. That's one. Time-worn tome. Faded title on the spine reads Stewards of Wisdom. During the chaos of Sixth Humble Clarity, founder of Shardian bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in the northern empty, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war, pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Shardians took to heart the wisdom of their savior, and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon the foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other, a nation born from strength of mind rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be bartered for wealth and coin, and the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Shardian would live by their founder's teachings. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, they eschew the tools of war, and with knowledge delivered the world. And that was one of three we needed to, Right, well-worn manual. Title on the spine reads Forever 20 Summers. Have you ever put learning before your health and neglected the feed and rest your body as you should? I don't think this is necessary. Right. Blue covers book. An introduction to the heavens. This book is on the wrong subject. Search for works which contain details in the forum or mention the history of Shardian. Yeah. Right, leather-bound tome. Voice of a growing city. This might be promising. Here's which the founding of Shardian, civic policy and other matters of import were decided a public forum in which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. The large number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but in the year 201 of the 6th Astral Era, it was ultimately decreed that Shardian would transition to a new form of governance. The nation will now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the forum as we know it today conceived and created. And that was number 2. Right. No books here. Yeah, that one doesn't look like the one we're looking for. Roads of Old, the Colony. Many years ago, on the facts of the fact, the Giovannian hinterlands, the Charlian colony once fired. The settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea in the year 1311 for the 6th astral era. Scholars dispatched to Eorzea found the facilities wanting and their demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. As rumours spread of a growing community of academics, the area was further inundated with Eorzean students hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Shardians. 50 years later, the Forum passed a motion to recognise what has become the flourishing town as the official Shardian colony. Eorzean residents took to calling the colony itself Shardian, which led to no small amount of confusion when discussions turned to the subject of the motherland. In response, some Shardian inhabitants, if pressed for a name, would simply refer to it as Emporium. Following the Great Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed for themselves the corner of the abandoned colony and gave it yet another name, Idilshire. The following chapters go on to introduce the most prominent features of Idilshire. This book does not appear to contain additional information on the forum or cover the history of Shardian Motherland in greater detail. Yeah. I don't think this is going to be of much use. Oh, the story of Sharlian! It's probably the picture book edition. All the aboard his art, but the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. And shifted the entire ship safely atop Abath's spine. Refugees from surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over dwindling supply of fuel led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers, and abandoned the Ark to those Radon peaks. And he journeyed to the coast where he built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. Head outside to the rendezvous point. Await your companions. There we go. Yeah, brightly coloured book. That must have been the picture book edition of the history of the. Considering it's brightly coloured. Right, and destination. Oh, right. I have to disable text auto advancing because these are not voiced. And to make sure I borrowed at least a few promising volumes, Elfinor and Kral should be along shortly. It was delayed in a similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon stacks mention the final date specifically, so we have to start with the tangentially relevant terms, if they are even that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate. Plenty of comfortable places to read and a ready supply of hot tea. If Alpha and I will return shortly, we're not to be allowed access to the threshold. Yep. He being ass. one day, I'm certain of it. No one comes to I was raising Charlie, and yes, but I was born rather further away. In the southern reaches of Ilzabad, in fact, for generations my people had dwelt in Korvos, coastal region opposite the island of Favnir. The Elegans founded the city in that fertile land, and by ship brought the subjugated tribes to Rikote to serve as labourers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the fourth umbral clarity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the fifth clarity froze the sea solid, many of the tribes still living in Korvos braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent the remnants of Allagan technology from being misused. Also, some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Garnemald renamed the region Locus Ammonius. As a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles house Darnus. Sounds very familiar. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Allagan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favour of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the Allagan Eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and a decision was made to bury our ties with the knowledge and traditions of Allag. And the last child born with the Allagan Eye, I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Aldessian, who had me registered as a Charlian citizen. The rescue orphans are all common among Charlians than you might think. Yet, regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient capacity, we outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archon. Alright. Wait, the destination again? And this should be, yep, it's Elfino and Kryl. Returned with our selections. So the pickets were quite so indeed. Mistress Kryl had already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we'll be looking into research papers on the Umbral Clarities, as well as articles written by prominent former members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amarok firsthand, and fear I may be overlooking critical details. Yep. Now, where to begin? Yeah, complete destabilization of creation magics. The unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. As aligns to my understanding, if only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, these techniques were not preserved or passed on. Yoshitoda surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Asians. There's an autumn note heralded the approach of final days. A keening sound from the land itself. Ah, yes, the Amratorines spoke of it, didn't they? We never did hear this sound ourselves, of course. Trust as we were into the midst of the madness. It seems that each and every one of the catastrophes was preceded by this ominous noise. Eventually, it resounded all across the star, and not even Amaranth was spared. Ground was crying out, you say. To be considered the harbinger of doom, it must have been quite distinctive, and probably quite loud. Now to speak with one of Newman's Mehmets, and ask after any books which makes mention of such a sound. Ask not least to describe how the ancients sought to quell the unprecedented calamity. What definitive action did they take? Oh, what do you expect? They summoned Zodiac! Yes, well, Elizabeth was serving with his heart. So many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. You don't know exactly how Zodiac brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set aright. Then, once balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Life sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls that they intended to render unto Zodiac, a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primal. Or might have had Vanat and her followers not manifested their opposition in the form of Heidelin. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder why what the Telophoroi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. You see what they're doing with those towers of debt? What they're doing is forcing people to summon primals. It's forcing people to summon primals a kind of catalyst. Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by the unstable creation magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech, a convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash? But this is all just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return our attention to the forum, shall we? You should keep an eye out for your Stola, but this time we began studying these research papers. Oh joy. A lot of book reading. I'll wait at the designated location once more. And last am I? Well, my extended search of the Archon site produced one or two possibly useful books. Well, it wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Urianger learned of the source's reflections from the Giran oracles. For its potential to cause panic and confusion, the tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Cabal Library. It is even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on the shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason that my colleagues, be they archons or counsellors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet, when you confronted Master Fortuner with knowledge of the Telophori and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestions that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the former would know if the final days were truly upon us. Which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the Foreman's behaviour is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty, whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone! Yep. Yes, we got dragged into the boring book reading. You labour for what feels like an age as the Estola's research assistant. Oh, thank the gods, we're actually done. Oh, well, oh, no, Kral is over here. Oh, you look exhausted. What about your studies? Were you able to find any books of the subject I mentioned? It was well spent. Should you wish to read them again, a man at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied for a search for quite some time. And, yeah, I mean, these I'm just going to redeem and stick on the market board as and when I get them. Right, Gadget's Shoes of Aiming. Speak with Alize in the last stand. I think I'll be better off actually running up to this Ethernet shard and going down to the Scholar's Harbour. Because there is a summoning bell there and I can just drop off the gear when it decides to load me in. Alright. Sell items in inventory, go over to the armory chest, and it was, oh yeah, it was those. $153.99. Can I actually sell anything else? Nine, 8. Yeah, because I can't. Oh, that's right, untradeable. Alright. Ensuring that no other gourmet cafe is sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives you an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood to the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Tlophorai. Might even learn something new. Worth a try, don't you think? Okay. Yep, and now we got a tether buddy. Yeah, because I think some of the quests... Oh yeah, that's right, because some of them won't unlock until later on. It means we have Double Dash here. I think we also have this, which is the hunt stuff. Gonna need to unlock. Okay, first this needs to go. Tea set is to the chatty group sitting by the water's edge. The omelette is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisela. Gisela, she is sitting on the outside table with a friend of hers. Behind them, you'll see a Makote gentleman. He ordered the oven-baked lobster. Alright. Place the correct dish at the customer's table. Chatty group sitting by the water's edge. So I believe this is the... this is the tea set. So Gisa was the omelette. And I could go back to the general tab. The oven-baked lobster. So you have now learned about the Gleaners. Total customers were able to get anyone talking. They seem unaware of final data aside from whatever fake news execs are printing. Dickon had nothing to offer. And he's the best source of gossip in the city. The forum does have secret knowledge, and they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in the wrong ear. Okay, thank you for playing the part so well. Yeah, that cup of coffee I promised. Alright. She's looking over. I'm not sure if that's meant to be a menu or something else. Alright. Oh, the peristyle is actually behind all of this lot. Oh, in and out of sight. Oh, and the chair just decided to take a dive.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe it. Wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Charlian? Graham said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been, how being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently. They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos. A vast complex beneath the island. Charlian is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait! Didn't you hear something in the last stand about the Gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And Gleaners answer to the Forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Clever girl. Probably. Seat at the last stand. Yeah, and we're having issues because of the... Alright. There we go. Labyrinthine descent. So we've learned about the Gleaners. Go head to Nuna's. Arthur Dickon will want his cups back. Yeah, because this time I will just teleport Ethernet straight over to the Studium and... Oh! They actually sold during the cutscene. Just need to make sure of that. Alright, cutscene time again. Ahead of you. Not exactly. We did some impromptu investigating and turned up information on the Gleaners. It makes sense. The Gleaners take their requests directly from institutions and bureaucrats, but as you say, they ultimately answer to the Forum. A sudden and significant increase in Gleaner traffic and cargo, it certainly gives the impression of an overarching plan being put into motion. Let's see what theory we can build from the facts. As Stoner observed earlier, Numon's archives appear to contain no information concerning the final days. Stan, we can be reasonably sure that most Charlians know nothing of that particular period in ancient history. That my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but are also somehow certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Telophorite is wholly unlike these apocalyptic events. Moreover, the Forum claims to be so occupied by a duty of such pressing importance that they saw fit to unanimously deny Eorzea's request for aid. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale. I do not think it a stretch to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service to the Forum's secretive ends. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrinthos and assess the situation for ourselves. And if we're lucky, the Gleaners will be far more receptive to our questions. I think we'd better bury my head in another dusty book. I understand not everyone is the studious type. Consider this a welcome change of pace then. As for myself, there are a few more subjects I should like to research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books and be on your way. I'll see to it that each is returned to its proper place. Right. head downstairs over there. I'll show you where the entrance is. I think we're near the access point for Labyrinthos. Right. Oh, it's actually up here near the rostra. And I have a feeling this is going to be another tether quest. Hang on. There she is. Speak with Alizé and follow her lead. Alright, so Alizé, try not to fall behind. Off we go then. Sets off at a brisk walk. Oh dear God. If only I could remember how to actually activate walking. This is not a brisk walk. There we run. Try to keep up. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Alizé. I'm afraid I'm going to take the pace. We crossed the bridge. Oh. Think with Alizé. I actually managed to go ahead of her. That she actually stopped. Up here. Oh dear God. I actually managed to run ahead. Rostra, not far now. Oh. Thank you. Oh. Right, I'm gonna quickly, if you're a chocobo porter, if you're a chocobo keeper, where's your chocobo? For our group descent. Right, everyone into the lift and down we go. Let's go to the new location. And I think this is a voice segment.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Sharlayan itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh or no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then.
And what's wrong with you, Kryl?
Did you call to me just now? No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
Yes, let's get to work, shall we? Gather information in Upper Acarinthos. Oh yeah, that is that aquarium. When am I gonna leave? Ah! Thank you. It's Dublin. All the books and ore and fauna. If it needs hauling, I haul it. Every decade or so, they take stock in Labyrinthos, you know. Sort and tidy up an inventory. Never seen an operation like this before, though. They just did one a few summers ago, even. Then, with no warning at all, this mess gets dropped in our laps. Orders from on high. Damned if I know the reason. Could be that they're changing the layout, eh? Preparing for the next big expansion. Your exchange with Dominus taught you about taking stock in Labyrinthos. Let me think. The rear seed should be item 1058, human seeds 1059, Snurtleberry 1060, or is that or are they 1061? Ah, my head feels like it's stuffed with mocha grass. I'm more loath to take out than carry in. Why do all this at once and risk mixing it up? What if someone mistakes the Curfin carrots for the Girabunyan carrots? What then? He was talking about large shipments coming in and out of Labyrinthos. Yeah. And now we're going to speak to Erenvale. The male Vieira we get to encounter a bit in the Endwalker quest. You're here to help but give more headaches. Because you don't have the look of a gleaner and I'm in no mood for idle chatter. One of my colleagues was so exhausted he took a tumble and crashed into a pile of crates. Now I have a pack of marmots running loose. Alright, share your findings with Kryl. The good thing is I'm not getting a hard drive over grind. Tell us the gleaners have to say. Yeah, got stock, shipments, and exhausted gleaners. So this grand operation began without warning, and for every item they bring in, they're sending more inventory somewhere else. That would explain the haggard faces I've been seeing. You were right, the forum is definitely up to something, and they're turning Labyrinthos upside down in the process. You now have Ethernet access to the Hall of Artifice, Labyrinthos. Glorified rat catcher! Didn't one of the gleaners you questioned say something about escaped marmots? Catcher said creatures that might be inclined towards a more friendly and enlightened conversation. Yeah. Meantime, I will turn my chance upon this gleaner here. We can compare notes afterwards. Happy hunting! Alright, now back to Erenvale. Or Erenville. Good to help you find the marmots. I'm nothing suitable to pay you for your services, but if you're offering out the goodness of your heart, I'll welcome the assistance. Here is Erenville, friend, specialist in the collection of live specimens. That said, the capture of these Naxian marmots is a trial I have no desire to repeat. Grizzled mice, what they call them. For a mercy, there are no other marmot species on this tier at present, so there should be no mistaking our little fugitives. If you happen to catch any, stuff them in this sack. Gently, of course! Now to you under, I'm not seeing any scampering around here, so we need to widen our search in the surrounding forest. Be on your guard, there are beasts out there that won't hesitate to prey on a marmot. Or you! I'll search the trees to the west. The eastern part of the forest is all yours. Good luck. Okay. Search for grizzled mice and defeat any enemies which appear. You know what? Come out. Let's go to the new location. No joy. And now I've got to remember where these freaking mice are hiding. Not over here. Ah, there we go. Grizzled mouse. Ooh, okay, let's just do this. Start technical step. Nanny. And it's run away. That was interesting. I didn't think I'd be able to one-tap level 80s with a full charge tech step. And there's our wayward charge. Target not in range. Now I'm in range. Get in this sack. Oh, it ran off. Yeah, I think it's over here somewhere. Discover a new location. Oh, joy. Yeah, and we have rain and... Yeah, I think it's up there. Alright. There it is! Come here! Well prepared for its speed this time, you succeed in closing the sack over your elusive quarry. Ugh. Ugh. 1 minute. Ugh. Ugh. Deliver the squirming rat sack to Erenville. Yep. Here's your escape rat. Oh, there's the odd marmot out. Friends in a holding cage. I think this scene is actually voiced. No, it isn't. Nope, then I need to turn off text auto advancing. Ugh. Oops, I should have captured them in the first place. The authority in charge of Labyrinth Foss, now and in perpetuity, the same officials who've had us working day and night of late. The honourable members of the Forum, who else? Suitable consumption and easy to breed, those were the two conditions I was given for the stock I was instructed to procure. I don't know what the Forum has planned for these creatures, but at the very least I doubt they'll be served for dinner today or tomorrow. Ugh. As we hoped that by seeing these decisions, those decisions put into action, we might fully understand their reasoning. Ugh. Never hurts to try and gain a reporter's perspective, does it? Well, to capture enclosures to empty once again, I can offer you more for your services. Anything new from your friend here? Confirm for that. Mission operation did indeed come directly from the forum. However, the Gleaners have not been informed of its purpose. So that fits with everything we have heard thus far. As I discovered, when the operation was begun, the forum contacted the Gleaners Guild ship and put their people to this great work some 4 days after the Throthroi made their chilling declaration. As seasoned travellers, the Gleaners kept abreast of news from every corner of the world out of necessity. Thus, I'm inclined to trust that their calendar of events is accurate. Altogether, it gives a distinct impression that this undertaking was a sudden and unexpected development. Yet I find it hard to believe that such a comprehensive restructuring of Labyrinthos and its archives could have been planned in so brief a window. Nay, this plan was long in the making. They were but awaiting the right time to put it into effect. And Throthrai's declaration was all that set it in motion. Was that set all in motion? Seems likely, but let us not leap to conclusions just yet. For the moment, I suggest we conduct a wider investigation of Labyrinthos. The more facilities to visit, the more pieces of the puzzle we stand to find. We head to the Arcadian. Okay, and from there we can reach the lower... Oh, and there goes Kral again. Kral, what's wrong? Oh, fine, truly, the sun's descent has left me with a bit of a headache, that's all. Nothing that'll stop me from soldiering on. Let us be about it then. At least allow me to take the lead. I'm fairly certain I remember the way to the Archeon. Follow the path east through the forest where you were chasing after that mouse, or marmot was it? Anyway, it's the trolls you need to watch out for. Alright, okay, speak with Alphino. Okay, so this should... Yeah, we've unlocked 3 side quests here. Ugh. Oh, jeez. Like the whole of yesterday, I wasn't that tired during the day, but today, I think events of earlier on have just drained me, or it's just that I haven't had much in the way of sleep. Oh, that'll be the chocobo. Alright. Hashing Canal, the outer circuit. uh, excuse me. Ugh. There. Much better. Alright. The city's wealth of material data. The architecture, too, is similar. The building you see is merely the upper entrance, access point to the vaults. The upper entrance, access point to the vaults carved into the cliffside itself. Within those vast rooms are stored countless samples and specimens, as well as detailed records which describe them. In a manner of speaking, the Archeon contains the physical knowledge of Charlene's unwavering dedication to the accumulation of knowledge. Thanks much. Oh. Speak of the Archeon Custodian. But before we do that, there is something important we need to do. We need to pet the crystal. Okay, gemstone trader, frog. Thank you. So you've got more quests available. Ugh. Ugh. His vaults. You're clearly not clean, despite our sure affiliation. Is that relevant? I was going to believe the vaults, those open to the public at least, were open to the public. Ordinarily, yes, that would be the case. At present, however, access is restricted. Only persons directly involved in the reorganization efforts are permitted to enter. Ugh. Ugh. Understand, I suppose we had better move along to another facility. Well, at least make use of that. That service has also been suspended, I am afraid. For the time being, priority has been given over to the conveyance of inventory. Please go again after our restructuring operation is complete. Let's step outside for a moment, shall we? Excuse about listen. Oh. I doubt that our stone-faced custodian will be swayed by heartfelt pleas. We must seek another means to access the lower levels. Yeah, just have to purge the sinuses. So this might just be a cold. Right, yeah, the circle encompasses the whole of the Arcadian. Alright, bemused student. They're just students, they were listen to the Arcadian even though he's... Hey. Take care of it, Arcadian is open again. Right, hang on. Chocobo Keep. Thank you. Get rid of that marker. I think the other one is probably going to be around here somewhere. Okay, nope. Ah, bone weary worker. That's it. Take this. Just I've been up and down all day. I've had a spare moment to rest. See a cleaner fellow heading out the gate though, soldering a large pack and getting somewhere a task. Maybe he'd be heading down below after he's done with whatever it is he's doing. Oh, speak to the pack-bearing gleaner. Yes, this is okay. It's Aaronville. Okay. Ugh. There we go, thank you. That's your first stint away. It's you again. I don't mean to be in the middle of another task. The Falcon I need to capture is close. Very close. You spend your time in unusual ways, my friend. Still, 2 hunters are generally better than one. Very well, the canal here. Try a distinctive core. Single it out and shoot it with this sleeping dart. Ugh. Is that it? No, I don't think... No. Yep, we got it.
Fair shot.
I'm gonna quickly switch over.
Nicely done. Let me truss this one up and I'll make my way over to you.
There you are. Any new revelations? So you met with that gleaner again, this time to capture a hornbill. I understand catching and bringing in creatures from the outside, but what's the point of chasing after ones already here?
Oh, it's a simple thing, really. Occasionally, we remove specimens no longer needed for study, or those we've had difficulty raising. But we can't simply turn them loose. Safely returning such creatures to their native habitats is another facet of a gleaner's duties. But not in this case, I'm afraid. I've been asked to bring the bird below.
The restricted section in the lower levels of Labyrinthos. Open only to a select few researchers handpicked by the Forum. The projects down there are the subject of rumor and hearsay. Forbidden magics. Advanced technologies that can never be allowed to fall into outside hands. Even Archons are not privy to the truth. Those who are, the researchers involved in this secretive work, are not permitted to walk freely in the city, and are instead required to live in isolated quarters.
What could a facility subject to such strict security protocols possibly need with a hornbill? An experiment?
Possibly. I wasn't afforded an explanation. But judging by the requisition list given to me and my colleagues, I doubt it's for any kind of advanced research. I'd be more inclined to believe we were making preparations to migrate to the south. Mericidia or thereabouts.
What? Why would you say that?
Much of the flora and fauna we were asked to procure could serve as reliable sources of sustenance. They're comparatively hardy species too, able to endure harsh climates. And among them are specimens known to be effective in improving soil quality and purifying water.
When you put it that way, migration does sound like a reasonable assumption.
That's all it is, though. An assumption. Through our tasks, we gleaners glimpse only bits and pieces of the Forum's plans. Our prime concern is that our requisitions, be they living or otherwise, are properly preserved for the knowledge of future generations. Now, I really must be going. I regret that I cannot reward you as you deserve.
Perhaps you might reward us after a fashion then. It is imperative that we reach the lower levels. And seeing as you are already set to descend with your assigned cargo, mayhap we could accompany you as your assistants.
I'm afraid that won't be possible. Once the animals have been prepared for transport, we send them down separately via the lift. I will of course follow after to make my report, but I can hardly pass you off as porters when there's nothing left to carry.
Indeed. Pray forget I said anything.
How do you feel about climbing? If you've strength and the courage to brave it, then there is another way down. This path leads to the 33rd facet, a mine shaft excavated during one of our expansions of Labyrinthos. While I cannot guarantee that the passage is safe to traverse, it should provide access to the medial circuit below.
I never even knew such a place existed. Thank you. This is the perfect solution.
You're quite welcome, but consider yourselves warned. If the going proves too treacherous, you do well to turn back. I bid you good day.
Well, turning back is hardly an option, not when we've come this far. Let's go and take a look at this mine shaft.
So I'm gonna pull up the quest chain again, figure out where I actually am. Right, Endwalker main scenario quests. Right. This is 81. Right, so shutting quest chain, and we are deeper into the maze. Right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I go off with that. Right, so deeper into the maze. So we have the medial circuit, the full report, warts and all, guide of sorts, and estate visitor. Okay. There you go, got another 30 minutes in the chocobo. Level Screamer. Excuse me. I did not expect to be. Oh. Alright, the entrance to the mine shaft. Alright, so I'll probably put that. Yay! Level up! Enhanced technical finish. Okay, I need to look at my traits again. Right, enhanced technical finish. Oh! I've unlocked Delana. Right, actions, yeah, Talana. Delivers an attack to all nearby enemies to a potency of 360 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining. Additional effect grants standard finish and the spree to self and party member designated as dance partner. Increases damage up by 5%. Duration 60 seconds. Can only be executed while under the effect of flourishing finish. Triggering a cool. Right. So it is literally once we do our full tech step, we get a second ability which we can trigger. Soon we go. Alright, let's go. Oh, 33rd facet. Oh, right. Know what? Okay, yes, so it is a double charge. So you press it once. Wait, I thought I told that. Uh. Alright. The companion. Where are we in skills? We only have one SP, so I cannot give any more skills. Okay. I should probably have saved that for and ding! Wow! Oh, so many next area, defeat any enemies that appear. Ugh. Alright. 3, 2, 1, and we now have technical stuff. Actually, should really know to actually do that. Uh. Speak with Alphino. Alright. Finally, we're out there and into the medial circuit. Seems to have made it through without incident, nothing of consequence at least, and as promised, the tunnel has delivered us into the medial circuit. As I recall, this tier is where they keep a wide variety of samples for agricultural production. If Ernville's assumption holds true, is that specimens are being collected in preparation for a great migration, then we should see evidence of such plans in the area's research projects. Let's follow the path to the nearest farming facility and see what we see. Okay. I bet you this is probably going to pick up on a... Yeah, there is actually a ether current, somewhere around here in the 33rd facet. Ugh. Genomos. Oh, the good thing is we're actually level 82. So we are at least... Just notice a bit of graphical glitching. Oh, that was... Yeah, I'm gonna leave into their work. Surveying and cutscening. And yet, they have actually fixed the issue with the grapes. Disable text auto advance, because this is not a voice cutscene. The fruits of their research go to feed the Labyrinthos colleagues, or so I hear. Oh, notable successes like to Agora. Food so exotic you'd be hard pressed to guess their origin, let alone how they might taste. Indeed, mystery vegetables without a name, only a list of nutritional benefits scribbled on a card. I see no gleaners hereabouts, yet these workers seem to share that same sense of urgency. It's possible they know something of the Foreign's plans and their underlying motivations. Worth looking into, wouldn't you say? See what you can coax from the workers. The rest of us will do the same or cast about for useful clues. Alright. Alright. Nothing over here. Right, so there are 3 people we need to speak to. Overwhelmed labourer. Do I ought to be taken down below? More than I can carry and then some. Most of our stock is sent off via the cargo lift, but some has been earmarked for aerial transport. Hence the second crate to top that hill over there. God's hauling that lot up the slope with a job and a half. Right. Right, there is number 2. And yeah, they have fixed the, mostly fixed the textures on the, grapes. Harried Harvester. Oh, got to be ready to see this one. This one is a variety of grape. Only needs a good source of sunlight to grow, and the conditions here are nothing short of perfect. Hardly surprising, given native to a particular locale in the very place upon which Labyrinthos was modeled, the region in the south of Ilzabard. It boasts remarkable habitat diversity, allowing for myriad flora and fauna to thrive. Chilly peaks in the north gives the slopes of temperate plains, which in turn transition into a hot, humid coastline. Such bountiful territory is ever contested. As you might expect, it used to be called Corvos before the Imperials renamed it to Locus Aminos. The Forum saw it not as a prize, however, but as a researcher's ideal environment. One whose climates we strove to recreate within the confines of Labyrinthos, since it provides a rich foundation for countless experiments in conservation. Right. I now need to stop flipping yawning and find the 3rd person we need to speak to, and we can't actually jump over this because they are either... Oh! Why did I not see this before? Unless each character is marked one after another. Rules such as leave a guided tour in the fields. I'm afraid the forum has a fitting order lists a mile long. Massive yet detailed requests, literal wagon loads of crop samples, and hardly any time to put them together. When I heard of this grand reorganization, I assumed we would be shuffling around old stock to make room for new. Then came the orders for ridiculous quantities of seeds we already thoroughly researched. Nothing strange, eh? I pressed for an explanation. and was met with vague assurances that all would be revealed in due course. Not the most satisfying answer. Okay, so investigate the stacked boxes. And where, pray tell, are the stacked boxes? Excuse me. Yes, they are over here. At least this wasn't like it was during launch. Okay, uh, uh, hang on. Thank you. A little bit more experience. I think the boxes are actually up here. Come on. Ah, here we go. Stacked boxes. Bloop. Those boxes are looking at me funny. The labels on these crates tell the story of their contents. Bundles of common seed and saplings, accompanied by sheaves of reports. I think this is a voice section?
Hard to look away, isn't it?
Right, it is a voice section.
But they're more than pretty flowers. Heart blooms are attuned to ambient emotion. You don't seem convinced, but believe me, it's true. This ashen grey, for instance, it mirrors the anxiety and urgency of those working nearby as they rush to fulfill sudden orders. Intense feelings like those spur the petals to change colour. Bright glowing hues in the presence of joy, dark subdued shades for frustration or despair. Yet even with the collected wisdom of Charlian at our disposal, we've yet to identify the underlying principle of this empathic effect. And there are other mysteries besides. Although the flower is extraordinarily long-lived, its low reproductive rate has made it difficult to find younger populations growing in the wild. With too few sightings to map its distribution, and no closely related species to track, we've been unable to pinpoint its land of origin. To further complicate matters, every culture, even dimly aware of its existence, has given it a different name and mythos. Our attempts to study it via the historical record have been an exercise in frustration. As an avid botanist myself, I should one day like to unravel the Heartbloom's secrets. But I'm afraid other duties must take precedence. I will leave you to your thoughts.
Have you learned aught of interest? A flower that reacts to one's feelings? Strange. I must say, I have never heard of such a thing.
This is all very fascinating. But as it stands, we fail to gain any significant insight into the Forum's undertaking.
Indeed. While there is certainly enough activity to support Erenville's supposition that a priority has been placed on improving food production, unfortunately for our investigation, these workers were never informed as to how their duties serve the master plan.
If only we could interrogate the Forum members directly. Isn't that the entrance to the Archaean? Look, there. I think that's Erenville.
A little difficult to tell from here, but I think you're right. He did say he was coming down to make his report.
Erenville receives his orders from the Forum. Would it not follow, then, that the superior to whom he reports is a Forum member, or at least a close associate?
You mean to eavesdrop on their conversation? What of the risks?
Ours alone to bear. We won't interfere with Erenville's work, nor will he be implicated as an accomplice. If you're not comfortable taking part, I can do this alone.
Nay. I said myself that I wished to know Father's intentions, and no answers will be forthcoming should we simply ask nicely.
We can apologize later, should it come to it. Right now, we need every crumb of information we can get our hands on. Consequences be damned.
It might be best if you came along as well. In fact, we should all... Crier?
Oh, yes. That certainly sounds like a plan.
I'm glad you agree.
Quickly! Erenville is on the move. We need to get closer before we lose him. Almost. I can almost reach you.
Yeah. Who, in fact, is Kral trying to reach? Find out on the next episode. Right. That is the full report, warts and all. Right, unlock, and away we go. Which way do we... Oh, we need to head this way. And yeah, we have to head down here first before we can actually proceed. Oh, we didn't get away fast enough. Thank you. Hold a moment, I have an idea. Oh, I need to disable auto text advancing. This class of warlock structure is logistical beta, one of Labyrinthos' climate control centers. It should have its own lifts, with which one could access the upper or lower tiers. If I were an agent of the forum, it would make for a convenient meeting place. Even if we were to have to find Ernval with a company estate agent, we cannot expect real issues of importance as we nonchalantly stroll past. Nay, we shall have to remain undetected. Oh, that's right. I actually forgotten to take my little screenshot. Have you helped my little toads? Goodness! You know, that would actually do for a good screenshot. Don't worry, we're off with the best of time. Thus you and your green companions hop along and catch up over Baronville. Should you feel the magic's fading, return to me and I will refresh the enchantment. What am I to do in the meantime? Wait here with me. In your current state of mind, you'll be as likely to leap into the jaws of a predator. She would learn anything of note. Reminds me, where the creatures hereabouts, in that form you are essentially defenseless. You have changed into a toad. You must remain transfigured in order to progress. You return from your toad, you move too far away and look to your map for the transfiguration's area of effect. Speak with your stoner to restore or prolong the transfiguration. Alright. Speak with Alfie Toad. Yeah, okay. Alfie Toad and Eddie Toad are now accompanying you. Keep them at your side in order to receive your quest objectives. Yeah, it's Alfie Toad and Eddie Toad. Alright. We have 29 minutes in order to complete this next excellent quest. Location. Alfie Toad? Wait. Alfie Toad still fails to shake his head. But you know the less understanding he's telling you this is the wrong way. Eddie Toad turns to face the north. Perhaps she is struggling suggesting you cross the bridge. I should probably do this a lot better than I did the last time. Plenty of time Plenty of time. Let's hope I don't run into a fate on the way around. And thankfully there isn't a fate spawned. And here comes the cutscene, and I think this is actually voice, so I will mute my mic.
I trust you will find your compensation to be more than satisfactory. We wish to make clear that we are pleased with the efficiency and thoroughness of your work. So much so that we have come bearing new tasks in need of your competent hand.
Another lengthy list. If I may speak frankly, the Gleaners have been pushed to the point of collapse by your unending demands. We are not familiars to be exploited. We are Charlean scholars, and we deserve an explanation for this unseemly treatment. What warrants such urgency?
In an age long past, Charlean was charged with a momentous duty. And now that word of the final days hangs heavy in the air, the time has come for us to fulfill that charge. I can say no more, but I promise you this. All will be revealed in due course. And when it has, you will understand that your toil was in service to the greatest good.
Then I will do your bidding. For now. But unless you wish the Gleaners to rise up in protest, I advise you to offer tangible improvements for our working conditions. Your promised revelation does nothing to address present circumstances.
A fair point. Your concerns will be conveyed to the Forum.
I hope that was informative. You may consider my debt to you repaid in full. While I do have my reservations about the Forum, I want to believe that they have our best interests at heart. Which is why I'm reassured that you're busy sniffing out the truth of things. We can ill afford to place all our eggs in one basket, this master plan of theirs, without first understanding the risks involved.
Wait! How did you know it was us?
If you mean to impersonate a toad, try studying the real thing. And don't try to fool an expert.
Yeah, Stola? Yeah. I decided to forego the glasses because of the, Right. It's not Alfie Toad anymore. I suppose we should have known a gleaner who specializes in animal procurement would not be so easily deceived, yet he seems inclined to put his trust in us all the same. More importantly, perhaps we have discovered a new piece of the puzzle, this momentous duty the Forum agent mentioned. Sherlin has been called to action, and the Telefroid declaration was the catalyst. Whatever charge it is they hope to fulfill, they They deem it of sufficient import to disrupt all of Labyrinthos, not to mention ignore Eorze's request for aid. Right, a guide of sorts. Right, let's return to Stola. Because what I want to do is at least get the Tower of Zot unlocked. And Luncheon Toad. Where in the frickish... she's over here. Smack. There's alright. Yeah, he saw through your little, disguise. So you like to proceed. As soon as we find her back at the farm, she was behaving oddly, so I bade her return and rest there. That's not the best decision in hindsight. Would you mind checking near those flowers she was so entranced by? Rest of us could survey more distant areas, just in case she decides to... in case she decided to wander. I'm sorry, was you expecting an easy, right. Move on. Meg off. Ugh. Okay, I think... Oh, I already had text auto advancing enabled, so...
For you. The spell will keep it from wilting. She said you would need it for the journey ahead. Will you speak with her now? I cannot hope to match Minfilia's clarity, of course, but...
Thank you. Do not worry. She has lent me her body for only a moment. Just as I could not save the first from the flood of light, it has become arduous for me to interact with the physical world without assistance. Though I might converse with you for a time, the incorporeal form I assumed on the ship would be incapable of casting even the simplest enchantment. It is in the depths of the ethereal sea, the place to which all life returns, where my influence is greatest. After Menphilia's sacrifice on the first, it was to the sea, here in the source, where I ferried her soul. I wished that gentle spirit to find rest in the world she loved so well. Her, and another who may yet have a part to play, though that will depend on you. Take the flower, walk free, for you are free to go where you wish, to believe what you will. That bloom will be your guide, test and proof of your conviction. In darkness, seek joy. Surrender not to sadness, and see beyond despair. Walk free, and bear the light for others to follow. Together, raise it aloft and let it shine, till the end, blinding and radiant.
That was all too brief. Already she seems so far away. My apologies if I startled you. Ever since we began our descent into Labyrinthos, I had sensed another's will, straining to reach out. Even with my particular talents, though, I was unable to make a connection at first, so weak and tenuous it was. Once I took hold of that wispy thread, imagine my surprise to discover it was Heidelin herself. Needless to say, it seemed wise to learn what we could before letting go. Her answers were more cryptic than I would have liked, but at least she left us with a guide of sorts, that unusual flower. Yes, we are definitely making progress.
You can't be serious! We've done nothing wrong!
Master Fortuno, what business has the Forum with us?
Obstruction and suppression, apparently.
Mistress Baldessian, our records show you facilitated the Scions' entrance into Sharlayan by claiming them as assistants for your organization. We are aware of your investigations. After alerting the major institutions to the presence of potential troublemakers, we received word from an Archean custodian. A group operating under the auspices of the students, skulking about Labyrinthos and engaging in clandestine behavior.
Clandestine? We may not have entered Sharlayan as Scions, but we did naught to conceal our identities. Our only purpose in this city is to seek the truth. I can think of no reason why our actions should warrant the Forum's intervention.
'Tis not our way to discourage the pursuit of knowledge, but the timing of such pursuits must be considered, not to mention their potential impact. With the world in chaos, we, the true caretakers of wisdom, have committed ourselves to an undertaking that demands the utmost discretion. And we will not risk its success by turning a blind eye to disruptive foreign elements in our midst.
What then is to be our fate? Will you put us on a ship back to Eorzea?
The Forum will convene to examine your case. The results of said inquiry will determine your future in this city. As for your absent companion, he has already been detained.
Graha! But why? Is reading a crime now, too?
Reading is encouraged, celebrated even. Not, however, of the volumes shelved in the restricted section of the library.
Refusing to comply will only make matters worse. Let us instead treat this as an opportunity to open a dialogue with the Forum.
Silence is often one's best defense. I would advise against prolonging the proceedings with frivolous discourse. But enough. This is not the place for debate. The rostra await.
Right, and while this scene is playing out, I will actually go and take a bio break.
Forgive me. I was careless.
We would have been detained regardless. This way, at least, we managed to stay together. I trust your time within the Forbidden Archives was well spent.
The Forum will come to order! This inquiry is now in session. As Speaker-elect, I will be presiding over the day's proceedings. Master Fortuner, would you be so kind as to restate the matter which compelled you to summon your colleagues with such urgency?
As you are all aware, we recently denied Eorzea's request for Sharlayan assistance. Since then, certain individuals dissatisfied with our decision have taken it upon themselves to interfere with our work. They entered our nation masquerading as associates of the students of Baldessian. But these malcontents are better known as the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. These militants wield influence with both the Eorzean and Eastern alliances, and are inextricably involved with the crises presently afflicting the world at large. Loose in our city, these warmongers sought to meddle with and expose matters of state secret. What are they, if not a dire threat to be expelled?
You have tarnished the good name of the students.
Galuf would be ashamed.
Galuf Baldessian was never one to forsake his fellow man. Even if this nation closed every door and retreated from the world, he would have found a way to help the Scions, help every soul of this star fight back against the coming doom.
A terrible enemy stands poised to lay waste to all we hold dear. In the face of such madness, Eorzea reached out to Sharlayan, a respected ally, in the hopes of forming a united front. Was your curt dismissal truly the best you could offer? Or are you so preoccupied with your momentous duty of an age-long past that even the end of the world is unworthy of your attention?
Whence came this revelation?
From the mouth of a forum member within fortuitous earshot.
Then it seems your findings support my own. The reason I visited the restricted shelves was to study records of the Forum's policymaking process, to better understand the historical trends underlying their most major decisions. At first glance, the positions of neutrality in war and the accumulation of knowledge above all else appear constant and consistent, the unchanging pillars of Sharlayan society. And once upon a time, I might have left it at that. These days, however, I am more attuned to the subtleties of governance, and so I noticed something odd. From a particular point in time, the purpose of these policies shifted. No longer was knowledge preserved for the benefit of society. Rather, society was to be gradually reshaped to ensure the preservation of knowledge. The most conspicuous and telling change was the one which befell Labyrinthos. Once little more than an oversized storehouse, an enormous allocation of funds saw it transformed into an advanced research and archival facility. I also discovered a fascinating account on the finances of our Dravanian colony. The settlement attracted students from far and wide, and the connections and tuition fees thus acquired were funneled into further improvements for the archives. Now, there is no question that our nation's progress is tied to the acquisition of wisdom. Nevertheless, the vast resources diverted for this purpose borders on the obscene. But returning to the matter of when, our change in course appears to have been made some 270 years ago.
The very same period when Sharlayan scholars in the hinterlands began a formal study of the ethereal sea. You found something, did you not? And whatever it was, gave rise to your oh-so-important duty.
Mind your tongue, Archon. If you had seen...
Yes, we are bound by a duty we cannot ignore. Knowing this, what would you have us do? Abandon our vital work and join you on the field of battle? We will never choose the way of the sword. We will fulfill our mission not through strife and bloodshed, but survival. Come what may, we shall live on. We must.
Do as you must, then. But we Scions will fight until the heavens fall, until our last breath.
Such misguided zeal.
Father, Master Fortuno, I fail to understand the stance you have elected to take. But by the same token, I have yet to find a compelling argument to counter the challenge you put to us in Gridania. Still, in the midst of my uncertainty, I must trust in myself to do what is right, as others have chosen to trust in me. So I will continue, as I always have, weighing the consequences of my every action, and allowing my hope for the future to inform my decisions.
That's quite enough. Have you all forgotten the reason for this assembly?
Skolok Monteshane. He's the head of the Studium and an old friend of my grandfather's.
Honestly, every discussion devolves into some interminable debate. Terrible habit. Let's return to the topic at hand, By their own admission, these Scions have resolved to fight alongside the Eorzean nations against the doom which swift approaches. But there exists no evidence of an attempt to incite our citizens to do the same. Furthermore, while our decision may well have been the correct one, we cannot simply bull our way through these disagreements without inviting doubts or objections. Put yourselves in their place. Who among you would leave a tome unopened if an elder forbid you read it with no reason given? No. If we're to quell further discontent, then we must conclude this matter with a fair and even hand.
Order! We will have order! Master Monteshane raises some valid points. Keeping such concerns in mind, I propose we enforce the following measures. Until further notice, the students of Baldessian are to cease any and all activities within the domain of Sharlian. You will also refrain from any further investigation into the Forum's decisions and duties. Failure to comply with these restrictions will result in the immediate expulsion of your Scion associates. Let us put this judgment to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. I count 51 for and 48 against. The proposal is passed. Students, Scions, you have heard the Forum's judgment. Pray abide by it, or face the consequences. Honored members, I thank you for your time. This inquiry is concluded.
Right, I think we are done with that part, unless we have any continuing cutscene. Ah, okay. Oh, yeah. We have to wait for everything to load in. Thank you. These have been allowed to remain in the city. Due to the for discovered in the ethereal sea. With our freedom so sorely curtailed, however, we will struggle to learn aught more of substance here in Charlian. Oh, Lizzie. I think once we actually get to the picture's growing clearer, yes. That's in spite of the forum being so maddeningly vague. Oh, I forgot to. Yeah, this is not a voice section, so I need to disable auto text advantage. So I'm so reluctant to explain their actions in plain words. Survival, come what may, is father's work so vital that it takes precedence over his own family. You. No, yes, you've been dragged before the forum. I came as swiftly as I could. I'm so very glad they allowed you to stay. Mother? Alliance Levia, at your service. You fine people must be the signs of the seventh dawn. How lovely it is to finally meet you. Word reaches father that you are here. Oh, bother that. Am I to be chastised for speaking with my own children? I am well aware that you and Master Fortuno are not in the best of terms at the moment. I've been absolutely desperate to see my darlings again. You'll come by the house, won't you? I have gifts waiting. The time couldn't be better. As matters stands, we shan't be going anywhere until we discuss matters with Fangrid's group and reconsider our options. Oh, you're back at the annex when you're ready to rejoin us. Look! Let's be quick about it. Not for my own benefit, but should my husband return and find you enjoying our hospitality, the servants will be made to suffer the consequences. I'm going to escort my children to the estate. And then she was gone, and with her any opportunity to protest. Indeed, the matter is settled. Enjoy yourselves, you free! Okay, and I believe we are doing the old, okay. Yeah, I think all of these are, getting delayed by the, That's the view from the ridge, right? That is a... Hang on, why is there no visible... whatever. Right. I'm gonna quickly, clear that. Rotate, please, thank you, and you over there. Oh. And I believe this is actually another voice cutscene, so I will mute the microphone.
Welcome home, my lady.
What? What are you gawping at?
I'm muting for a second because... just admiring the craftsmanship!
Oh, I suppose I never gave the decor much thought. I'm glad that you approve, I think.
Lord Fortuneau is not to hear of this visit. And I should also like the children to have their gifts, ere my husband makes his return.
As you wish, my lady.
Master Alphino, Mistress Alice, if you would accompany me upstairs.
We shan't be long.
The twins have been sending letters home from time to time, recounting their latest adventures. I am sure they withhold certain details, of course, if only to keep me from worrying. Yet a mother worries all the same. In the early days especially, I tried to support them as best I could, sending the Scion's coin and other such donations. Fortunately, they have found the strength to overcome adversity time and time again. Their words grow more confident with every letter, their depictions more vivid. The triumphs and defeats, the joys and sorrows. 'Tis clear that they have come to find value in every experience. But of those they treasure most, it would seem that meeting you might be the most impactful. Why, since that fateful day, I do believe there has not been a single missive in which you were not mentioned by name. "'Tis plain they care for you, and I am glad they have such a steadfast companion watching over them. Under normal circumstances, I would offer you tea, but alas, these are anything but. In any event, why don't you keep me company whilst we await my children's return? Perhaps you might regale me with a tale or two of your exploits."
When you mentioned gifts, I wasn't sure what to expect. Mother,
Oh, look how well it fits you. And the style is to your liking?
It's perfect. Exactly what I would have chosen. But please, tell me you had something different made for Alphino.
Naturally. You are hardly little children anymore. And while I shall miss dressing you in those precious matching outfits, I must respect the individuals you have grown to become. See for yourself.
Thank you for the splendid clothes, Mother. Stylish, comfortable, and eminently practical.
I am so glad you like them. They are, however, missing one final touch.
If you would allow me, Master Alphino.
Wait. Are these...
A sage's tools of the trade. They belonged to your father. Though he may as well be chained to his desk these days, as a student he was often called upon to venture into the field. He wielded those armaments, both to heal and to harm in no few battles. None so fierce as those you two have braved, perhaps, but battles nonetheless. Thus did I pull them out of storage, to show you that he was not always the man who stands in vehement opposition to you now. And also because it would be a terrible waste of ridiculously expensive House Leveilleur commissioned artistry. I am told these devices are quite difficult to master. But someone of your extensive experience should soon have them darting about with grace and aplomb. May the wisdom in that crystal serve you well. And please, try to find common ground with your father, that you might come and go without need for this awful subterfuge.
We will, Mother. I promise.
My final gifts to you, before you run off, are an observation and a suggestion. Firstly, Fortunato has ever been a serious man, but it was only after you were born that he truly lost himself in his work. I may not know the Forum's inner workings, but I know your father's. The timing of that change in him holds some significance. Secondly, do not seek to best your father with words. Far better that you simply show him. Let him discover the merit of your actions, after they cannot be undone.
Oh, Mother.
We shall take your wisdom to heart. Thank you again for these gifts, and farewell for now.
Safe travels, my children. Eat well, stay warm, and keep your friends close.
Right. Excuse me. Alright. next? General refrain requiring us to the content of your private conversation. Let's go to the annex and rejoin our companions. Right. So what I am going to do is I'm going to quickly... So I should have actually gone to the Aetheryte Plaza for this. When it actually loads in. Thank you much. Damn it. Diminutive Gleaner. Hunt for specimens. Any day now. Okay, we are running data, so yep, and the hard drive is grinding itself to crap, so that means it's yeah, it was actually having problems catching up. Pick this up. This means we'll be able to do look at this, I'd set the others an impossible task, asking them to find you. The cleaner skill chip has begun posting hunt builds, you see. Take up ours to lighten our ever-increasing load. Unfortunately, capable individuals remain the sticking point. Few hailing from fair polis are willing to take up arms, let alone able to stand against them more fearsome specimens. You, however, have the experience and the grit that we need. When I heard that you had arrived on our shores, it was music to my ears. You will work for free, of course. We've done our research. Yep, okay, thank you very much. Hunt for specimens. And this should give us skill chip hunts. Well, there's a junior march on the guild ship's hunt boards at Old Charlie and Reset Han. Unfortunately, we can't access Reset Han at the moment because that is later to exchange Australian will mitter at Reset Han. Yep, the next quest isn't until level 83, and yeah, so we're actually a level away from and now we have to wait because it is still waiting for this to load. Hang on. Oh, I need to... Oh, yeah, speaker crowd in the main hall about this in Annex. I didn't actually need to wait for that to finish. Right, Kryl! I would ask how the twins fare, but their new outfits told a tale. I only hope we can help them to reconcile with their father, that they might return home one day with their heads held high. In the meantime, we edge ever closer to the secrets the Forum strives to hide, and the flower bequeathed to you by Highland is sure to guide us going forward. I'm confident that once we have heard your report from Fafnir, we'll be well equipped to pilot our next move. In the dark of the tower. Shall we share the findings from our respective locales? I think we should be straight into a cutscene.
Your time in Thafnir has certainly been eventful.
Muting.
In my opinion, carrying out Vitra's request and assaulting the Tower of Zot should be our highest priority.
I agree. While I still have questions concerning the Forum and their grand undertaking, we have all but exhausted our avenues of investigation. Simply pressing them any harder on the subject will almost certainly result in our expulsion. Therefore, I suggest we explore the ethereal sea connection by way of a letter to Master Matoya, then make our way to Thafnir.
I wonder, even with the protection these talismans afford us, what can we hope to achieve once inside the tower? According to Orenvold and Fudola's report, they were unable to free the Emulger. Worse, their attempts triggered the tower's defenses, which led to a summoning of Luna Afrit.
What does it tell us that the Spires even have such defenses? Simply pulling a prisoner from the wall is fatal, thus the direct approach is doomed to failure from the outset. Any further measures to dissuade such actions seem unnecessary. Unless, of course, there is a way to free the prisoners without killing them, then it stands to reason that any intruders will be met with overwhelming force.
The towers appeared throughout the world in but the twinkling of an eye. 'Twas by magical means these structures were raised, I surmise. A spire thus conjured must needs be maintained, and I suspect an arcane catalyst, some manner of core, doth lie hidden within. Destroy the core, and the tower ceaseth to be, thus liberating the captives without harm.
So we can hope, and I would prefer to enter the tower with a working theory than with no plan at all.
Assuming Ishtola's reasoning is correct, the chances of the defenses remaining dormant are small to none. Any primals will have to be dealt with, and defeating one will likely only lead to the summoning of another. Our every victory will only compound the prisoner's suffering.
May we not then divide our forces? Those proficient in healing will focus on sustaining the captives. That duty can be covered by Urianger, Kryl, Yostola, and myself. The remaining scions will proceed with the search for the core. Admittedly, this strategy puts both parties at greater risk, but it should bolster our chances of saving the Arcosodra by a considerable margin.
Are you sure Alphino is in the right group?
If you're to fight primals, then you'd best have at least one healer with you.
And I am more than happy to fulfill that role. I found wielding a sage's armament to be rather intuitive, and look forward to testing them against a more challenging foe.
It seems we have a plan. All that remains is to carry it out. I will inform Radzat of our movements, so let us make our preparations and regroup near the tower.
The military post in what's left of the Hamsa hatchery should serve as a convenient staging point.
That sounds perfect. And remember, the experimental aetherite at the confluence is there for those who need it, so there's no excuse for being late.
Right. I'm guessing we're gonna be booted back out to the entrance of the Valdestian Annex. Well, once it's actually loaded. Yep. And I think what we can actually do is just teleport directly to the Great Work in Vavnir. This will probably be the penultimate thing I do. I should have actually spoken to my retainers. Oh, when it's lashing it down out here. Alright. Ugh. Ugh. Well, I mean, from here I could actually teleport to Ralga's Reach. Yeah, I think that fate just finished. Now it's time to thread the needle. And here we are. Right. Waiting. This is the future of Aetherite travel. I think I'll stick to boats. Oh, disable auto text advance. I mean, you can fit mostly. Thank you for accepting this mission. my blessing. Not for this operation either, but for all the ones to come, you can finally break your monopoly on primals. In that case, they're all yours from now on. I'm afraid we can't let you retire just yet. You're the Scion's brightest star, after all. Let's review our strategy for good measure. As previously agreed, we will divide into 2 groups. The band will break through the tower's defense and locate its core. Meanwhile, the rest of us will tend to the prisoners, who will doubtless want for healing due to the duress of repeated summonings. The primals which the tower bringeth forth shall be the deities of Bavarian myth. As we have no prior experience with such foes, pray exercise the utmost caution when confronting them. We commence the operation at your word, my friend. People of Fafnir, nay, the entire world, we must prevail. Tower of Zot, now accessible. Although we will not be doing that, considering we're now 3 hours in. Yeah, because we only have Alizé, Alphino, Thancred, and Estinian. Because Kral, Graha, Y'shtola, and Urianger are on the second group. But we... Right, first things first, let's sort this out. Hydurian Visor of Aiming. Right. I believe Ralga's Reach is the closest, or the cheapest. Well, we can actually teleport to the Alamegan Quarter, but we need a place with a summoning bell to access our retainers. I believe I have to actually get one into her. Well, I have to. Right. Less than Ralga's Reach. So once we're done with this, I'll teleport back to Yehimad, which I think is the only place where they actually have some decent seating. Yep, there we go. Summoning Bell. New event report. Bogatir's 5 boots of healing. Very good, madam. Very good indeed. Okay, let's... Right, sell items in inventory on market. See, how much do these... Less than market value, so let's go to the armory chest, and I think it was... No, it was headgear. Hydurium Visor of Aiming. So 1, 2, 3, 99. Do you have anything else I can actually stick up on sale? Nope. Alright. So Back to Yehimad. Right. And I think up here. There we go. And once again, we are going to exit. Because that is going to be it for today. Finally, yep, it's now booting us back to the desktop on display 1. So, yeah, that is going to be it for today. The next scheduled stream. Just going to quickly swap mice around. Right, so the next scheduled stream is going to be after Christmas on the 28th at 5 PM or earlier, depending on how things go, where we will start with the assault on the Tower of Zot. And as for Christmas, I'm more than likely going to not do any stream like I did last year, although I think the year before I did that Sonic Sonic Forces one. I don't remember if it was the year before or the year before that. Anywho, I will catch you after Christmas, where we will be assaulting the Tower of Zot, and hopefully I should have these first two parts uploaded to YouTube.